Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I'm glad you guys can hear. I don't hear anything. Would you be? There we go. My neighbor. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Power to the People. It is really a nice day outside. I have a little summer cold, and I am fighting my way through it. I'm still trying to find the live, Mark. You streaming?
Mm-hmm.
I am. I'm finding it. Here we go. So, I am fighting through that now. I hate summer colds.
Oh, they're the worst.
And so last night, it was, when you're in the bed and you need to get up, but you just lay there.
Mm-hmm.
I was just laying there, head stuff, need to get up, blow my nose. I was like, I'm not moving. Then, and I'm not complaining, God, about the heat.
No, not at all.
It was so hot, I don't have central air. I want to open the windows in my house, but I'm afraid the bats might squeeze in through a screen or something like that. So I don't really want to, so I just.
Can I tell you what was actually interesting is, I got to about 80 degrees yesterday afternoon, and I got home from work. My house was actually cooler, so I didn't open windows. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'm kind of good on opening windows. But once that storm went through last night, I was like,
what storm?
Oh, you didn't hear the thunderstorms?
I know there's a storm out on the ocean and it's moving this way.
Oh, it moved. It moved, and it woke me. The thunder woke me up out my sleep, and I thought something was wrong with the dog. And
I heard nothing.
And then all of a sudden, I just heard the rain. I was like, oh, okay.
I heard nothing.
Oh, you was a good sleep.
Well, I was going to take some. So I take Zicam when the cold is coming.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't work. And then yesterday I took Dayquil. That didn't work. So when I leave here, I'm going to get some Alka-Seltzer cold medicine.
Yeah.
My mother swears by it.
Yep.
So I'm going to get some of that. And I wish I could say, and I'm going to go in the house and rest. Mm-hmm. But we only get 4 days of sun.
Yeah, I need this sun in my life.
I went out yesterday, took the top down on the car. I tanned pretty easy and went over to Canada. I bought a couple things. Then I thought, is it tariffs? Like, this is the truth. I went over to the outlet mall.
Yeah.
I hate saying where I'm going because then everybody go and then.
Be trying to wait for you.
But they had half off to half off in a lot of stores. So in
don't threaten me with a good
Aldo store, it was half off, half off. So like shoes for $30.
Oh, that's disgusting.
I bought because I had on Adidas yesterday. I'm kind of tired of wearing Nike all the time. So I went in the Adidas store, half off to half off.
Oh man!
So I got some basketball sneakers like I play basketball, and they were $110. They came to like $30, $20-something, and so I got this trunk full of stuff.
Oh man!
And I'm like, oh my goodness. Because somebody from Canada told me that when they come over, we went over for Mother's Day, and when they come over, the Canadians told me, when they come over to the United States now, and she said, I used to go buy my groceries.
Yeah.
They have to pay now.
Oh, wow.
$25 off the top. And then she said for a certain amount, she may have to pay more.
Wow.
So she said she doesn't come over anymore.
Well, that's what they've even now been talking about it. And I was in Niagara Falls on Wednesday, and I looked at the outlet mall, and it was empty. Yeah, I was just like, oh, this is, and I know our county executive, Mark Polenkars, has put up photos of like the Peace Bridge, and there's no lines and stuff.
I've got that pass, so and that's why I won't go with other people. If you don't have a pass, this is the truth. I wouldn't take my mother. I said, listen, Mom, if you're going to go with me over the bridge, you got to get a Nexus.
Right.
And so when she went for an interview, they were like, well, what do you want a Nexus for? She said, because my son said he won't take me. Well, I'm like, you could drive over. I'll meet you over the bridge.
Not my son won't take me.
I won't take me. She got her pass, and shoot, I put her in that car. We went on over. We had a good time. But, yeah, so I bought all this stuff, and then I'm like, oh, my goodness, can I bring it back? But the guy was so into the car that he was just, what year is it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So I was cool. I was like, good.
Oh, absolutely.
Now I wanted to ask him, hey, if I did, like, do I have to pay? So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the dollar amount is for Canadian border.
In the past, it was like $800 or something per person. Yeah. But I don't know.
We don't know now.
I just got a text message. Folks, this thing is still going on from Easy Pass.
Uh-huh.
Let me read it so that I'm trying to keep y'all from, because it is tempting to, wait a minute, did they send a group message?
Oh, no.
I know y'all lying. Hold on. This was 55 minutes ago. And it's 4 people on this thing.
Oh, God.
It's 4 people. Easy Pass account alert. Our records indicate that your account has an outstanding balance and civil enforcement proceedings have been initiated. Failure to remit payment by May 16th, today, may result in the following consequence: vehicle registration suspension, blah, 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 license revocation, legal liability to avoid. Let me tell you this. Kiss my grits. I'm going to put it in the comment. Kiss my grits. Now, respond to that, Easy. 4 people.
Yeah, that's disrespectful.
Now, what is going on? Now I got one refund available. 4 people again.
Oh, sounds like you ready for a number change.
4 people. Amazon full refund authorized following seller audit. Hello, we recently conducted a compliance check on a third-party seller connected to your previous purchase. The seller was found to be non-compliant and has been removed. As a result, you are now entitled to a 100% refund, which requires no item to return. Please click the link below. We value your trust. Amazon policy enforcement. Don't click it, folks.
Do not.
Now, that's 2 in a row. Something is going on. Because when I signed on to Facebook today, I want to read y'all this. Let's see if it'll come. I get this. Now, I posted because I am a new grandpappy.
Yes, congratulations.
I got to look up the little girl name. Something. Brielle.
Right?
Brielle.
Yeah.
Brielle Pridgeon was born cutie. So I posted that, and then I posted what we're going to talk about today. And I get this message, Darius, are you okay? On Facebook. And this why we send you this message. We've built tools that allow your friends to easily report posts about suicide or self-harm they may find concerning, so that Facebook can provide resources to anyone who may urgently need them. We also use patterns we've seen from previous reports to help us proactively identify potentially concerning posts. If we think something you posted might suggest you're in danger of harming yourself, we'll quickly provide you with the resource that may help, which is cool.
Right.
But I don't know why.
Yeah.
When I needed it.
Yes, when you were really
when I'm really in the dark dungeon of life.
Oh.
Then now I'm doing I'm on top of the world, Craig.
Yeah.
Not top of the world. Almost.
Couldn't be better. And now you want to ask concerning questions.
Yeah. I'm eating good, living good, smile on my face. I posted about my grandbaby.
Yeah.
Now maybe it's because I posted 514.
Yeah, maybe. So I guess if anyone posted a 514 comment, did you get a notification of "Are you okay"?
We've also partnered with mental health organizations across the globe to provide tips and resources for people who blah blah blah. So, I mean, it's a good thing. It asks, was this helpful? I'm just going to skip out of this, but I don't know what I posted or what friend.
Or who reported you.
Whoever reported, that I'm going through, you a little late. You a little late.
By a couple of years.
Yeah. I'm on top of the world, Craig. What are you talking about? So I'm just gonna X out of that.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna X out of that. What was my next? Okay. So Easy Pass, Facebook. I want to talk about these Afrikaners, and then I'm going to talk about 514. I'm going to talk about 514. I'm going to talk about where I was and where I was not. And I want to talk about it, at least in my perspective, from the fact that I think sometimes we get sidetracked and then we lose what we need to concentrate on.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to talk about that at the half an hour after the break. If you haven't heard about these Afrikaners, let me read to you. These are white South Africans who the President of the United States has decided we're going to fly y'all in to the United States, give you red carpet treatment.
Yep.
Because allegedly they're being killed in South Africa. Now, folks, let me first of all, hold on. I did a little research. You have to understand that most of these are Dutch colonists.
Yes.
Who this is where we get this term colonizers, who to address labor shortages, they end up, let me just read this for a minute so we have the history. Afrikaners are a South African ethnic group descended primarily from European settlers, mainly Dutch. Now, if they got to go somewhere, they came from Europe.
Sure did.
What's up? But also French and Germans who arrived at the Cape of Good Hope in the mid-17th century. Their arrival marked the beginning of permanent European settlement in southern Africa.
Which, to that point, is
Go
why
ahead.
South Africa, the people in South Africa have a lighter hue than most of Africa.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because they were intermarriage and all kinds. And some of it wasn't marriage.
Yes, and I'm sure it wasn't.
Some of it was tell Mammy to come into the bedroom.
Yes.
The first significant European settlement in South Africa was established by the Dutch. I'm not going to read all that, but let me get to the point. How slavery, those who were enslaved. To address labor shortages, the colonists imported slaves from East Africa, and I'm only reading what the article says, so you don't have to, in the comments, say those who were enslaved. I'm reading literally what I'm reading. From East Africa, Madagascar, and the East Indies. Modern-day Indonesia, India, and Sri Lanka. And that's where you get a lot of the different hues,
Yes.
too. Over time, there was some intermarriage and cultural exchange between Europeans, slaves, and indigenous. And Sans people contributed to the Afrikaner gene pool and culture. By the 18th and 19th century, many Afrikaners, then often called Boers or Trek Boers, began moving further inland in search of new grazing land and independence from colonial authorities. I'm not going to read all that. The Afrikaner identity as a distinct group developed over generations. So, conclusion, Afrikaners came to South Africa as part of European colonial expansion, starting with the Dutch in 1652, followed by the French and Germans. So, Now, remember there was apartheid, which meant basically white people, black people could not hold office. They were subservient. They were thought to be less. Comes along a man by many, and then you have Nelson Mandela and others who fought hard, and apartheid fell. President Trump signed an executive order in February, and this is from the New York Times, establishing refugee status for Afrikaners, the white ethnic minority in South Africa that created and led the system of racial segregation known as apartheid. As part of the executive order, the Trump administration created an expedited path for Afrikaners to resettle in the United States, even as the administration has barred most refugees from countries affiliated by war and famine.
Yep.
While waiting, and then we'll talk about it, while waiting at the airport in Johannesburg, the passenger said the U.S. Embassy had instructed them not to speak with the news media The first group arrived in the United States on May the 12th. The Afrikaners who arrived in the United States on Monday are the descendants of European colonizers who came to South Africa 4 centuries ago. They later created apartheid. Now, listen, I am all for opening the doors of America for those who are dealing with genocide, murder, all that. I'm all in. What I don't understand is that the federal government or the president says it's not about race. This is the same president that says if you have DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, we're not giving you any money. If you deal with race, we're taking our money. But here it is that the president of the United States signs an executive order as soon as he gets into office and says to people in the country where Elon Musk has roots,
Yep.
that we're going to bring you, but it's not about race. But it's not about race. It's because they're being killed. So what you are saying is these 50 lives and more to come
Right.
are more important than the lives of Haitians.
Yep.
More important than the lives in Gaza. More important than people who have a skin tone that is not lily white.
Right.
And I ain't playing the race card. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm over here reading up on the biggest white supremacists coming from the Afrikaners. What is his name? Charles Kleinhaus, who literally posted on X, formerly Twitter, in 2023 that, quote, Jews are untrustworthy and a dangerous group. In another post last fall, he shared a right-wing nationalist YouTube video that it was later removed, titled, quote, we'll shoot illegal immigrants. And this is who we just let into the country.
Yes. This is who we just let into the country. Let me give you a quote from an Afrikaner, however you pronounce it. No white person in their right mind would stay in this country, said Jaco van der Muur, 52, an Afrikaner living in Johannesburg. I believe South Africa is finished. Why? Because y'all don't get to hold us down anymore?
Yeah.
Why? Because we hold office now?
Yep.
49 Afrikaners, including parents and children, boarded a flight to the United States Sunday night. The U.S. State Department said in March that it received 8,000 inquiries from people seeking information about the refugee program. I don't get. Let me tell you this. I don't get why Congress and the Senate are not on the top of the Capitol. I don't get it. I don't get why it's so quiet. And we've got people who are literally having, and if you don't believe me, I can't give you the website on this show. And I know I get flagged if I say it. There's a website out there that you can watch people literally getting their heads cut off.
Yep.
Like literally, they're showing everything.
Yeah.
Africa, I ain't seen no reports
No.
of mass, and I'm not saying it's not happening,
Right.
but I ain't seen no reports of mass killing
Yeah.
of white people from Africa. And to me, it's not like you're in a communist country. You can leave.
Yeah. Yeah, no, last time I checked, no one was holding them or forcing them by gunpoint to stay in South Africa. So with this refugee status, to me, is hilarious. The guy is, and they're literally calling it a conspiracy theory that white people in South Africa are being persecuted. So there's no confirmed facts, stories, videos, as you said, that says that they're over there getting persecuted.
I ain't heard it.
Not one.
Because wouldn't the State Department or somebody put up a do not travel for white people?
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you white, don't go to South Africa because you might get killed. I ain't seen none of that.
Yeah, haven't seen a report, haven't seen a threat level raised, haven't seen the Red Cross go to South Africa.
Right.
Like nothing.
I ain't seen the World Food Organization have to go and feed white South Africans.
No, not at all.
The hypocrisy of it all. We need somebody to be able. I don't know when I'm getting the call from that other phone. Would it ring different?
No.
Okay.
It's going to ring the same.
All right. Well, I ain't telling anybody calling you. So the hypocrisy of saying we're going to bring in white South Africans because they're being killed and then double down and say, oh, but it's not about race. But then to say, but we don't want you all to talk about race.
Right.
But we can, and we can also, big ups to the Episcopal Church.
I saw that too at the bottom of it.
So the head of the worldwide Episcopal Church is a brother from Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
He said no. So they have a resettlement program. He shut the whole thing down.
Shut the whole thing down.
He didn't even just say, we ain't taking these. He said, oh, no, we ain't in business no more. If we got to do this, we're not in business. Bishop, I can't call his name right now, but big ups to the Episcopal Church, much respect to their bishop and to their denomination for saying we're not going to do it.
I have his quote here. One of his quotes.
What does it say?
Quote, it has been painful to watch one group of refugees selected in a highly unusual manner receive preferential treatment over many others who have been waiting in refugee camps or dangerous conditions for years, said the presiding bishop of the church, Reverend Sean W. Rowe.
So they thought that the Episcopal Church was going to take on a group of these folks. Like, big ups to those who stand up and go, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, and I think it follows up with, kind of our conversation with even the have more kids, babies conversation. And this is, they used to just come out and outright say, oh, it's the white replacement theory. Now it's all of these covert efforts to increase the white population in this country. And again, if you think we're dumb and don't see it, you're sadly mistaken. We're all not, living with a second grade reading level in education. So we see what's happening, and you want to ship the color out and bring in more white, so you don't feel replaced. If you got any
color, you can't even come in.
Absolutely.
Remember, we built walls.
Yes.
We put up borders. And then what we do is we go through neighborhoods and schools.
Yep.
And we put you on planes and send some people illegally back to countries. I don't know why my internet just went out. That's all right. I can catch it on this.
Did you, speaking of people, like you said, standing up, did you hear about the Wisconsin judge? The Wisconsin sitting judge had to be, she was in court because.
Yes.
Yeah, she had I guess an immigrant in her courtroom for a charge, and instead of her releasing him out the public doors to be arrested by ICE, she took him through the jury room, and then and then the federal government basically convicted her of helping aid and abet a immigrant.
Absolutely.
And I don't even know how the hearing went, but her argument was, I can do what I want in my courtroom. So,
and they arrested her.
Yeah. So, it like you said, it's somebody. Kudos to anybody who stands up to do something, and making sure we have the support to support them as they are standing up for what they believe is right.
Yeah, I agree. I just, it's so silent. It seems like, and it's bothering me to no end. I do radio now. I'm not in a position to write a resolution. I'm not in a position to do certain things. And I know what somebody say, oh, but you're a pastor. Listen, I led as a pastor and as I shouldn't do them both. I'm preaching now. I'm preaching.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, I get to choose what I'm going to do at whatever portion in my life. But I do think that it is really shameful that this man can, like, it's just, and we talk about 514 when we come back, like, talking about white supremacists, talking about privilege,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of the day, you can't be quiet about it, and that's why I want to educate people. This is when, like, don't call your council member.
No.
Don't call your and you can do whatever you want to, but they don't have a vote at Congress.
No.
This is when you got to support those we sent to
DC.
D.C. I can't see comments when we go to break. This just wiped out. I don't know what happened. This is when you've got to send and talk to your anyway. When I just signed back in, I'm looking at Book to Jamaica Villa, got a surprise roommate. Anyway, it comes right up. Anyway, that was Mark's doing. And so at the end of the day, this is when you got to call Tim Kennedy.
Yes.
This is when you got to call Gillibrand. This is when you got to call Chuck Schumer's office. This is when people together have to be able to say, we need you to stand up. And not that they're not, but they need that fire to be able to then go back to their colleagues and go, I'm getting pressure from my home.
But I will even say, even Nick Langworthy, he represents the 23rd. He's a
Nick
Republican.
Langworthy, absolutely.
Yeah, so he's over in Western New York too. So it is a matter of getting to everybody and making everyone feel the pressure or the support to go fight. I will find this interesting in watching some of the news, the national news, CNN, MSNBC, and things like that, that more and more GOP officials are speaking out, not about this, but about the current president accepting the plane from Qatar.
Oh, my gosh.
But
that will end up being his.
Yes. Well, they're saying, so now he's saying, in order for me to accept it, I will gift it
to the presidential library.
Right. It'll be gifted.
That's his.
Yes. But where I find it's interesting is I think they're only speaking out because the president's approval numbers are dropping. And I think that's the only reason why they're coming out about it, because we got two Supreme Court justices that openly take private jets and said I don't see nothing wrong with being flued out by billionaires. So
yes,
I even if it goes to the Supreme Court for an ethics, I don't think it matters. But I do think it's funny that Congress, some members in the Republican Party in Congress are now speaking out, I think only because approval numbers are dropping.
And it will affect their races.
Yes.
It will affect other races, and they could lose the Senate. At the end of the day, when he said that he would donate it to the library, what do you think they're going to do? Just put this huge plane
in a hangar somewhere.
In a hangar, and it's going to sit there?
Yep.
No, it means, okay, it's for use for the library, which means it's in use for Trump.
Absolutely. And and I don't know if you even heard the data. They said it's going to take the U.S. military almost $1 billion to retrofit it, and it wouldn't even be ready until he was out of office.
And they got to get, I mean, you don't know if it's got spy equipment. Like, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
But it is buy American, and but you taking a plane from a foreign country that hasn't always been friendly with us. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm getting ready to pay the bills. When we come back, I'm going to tell you what I did, what I didn't do on 514. Maybe that's why I'm getting these messages of, are you okay? Maybe I should have got them on that day.
We all probably should have.
We'll be right back. I'm coming over to your station to pay the bills in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
When it comes to something as personal as your clothes, you need to deal with somebody you can trust. That's why so many people turn to Hobson's Dry Cleaning, conveniently located in the heart of the community at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming.
When you take your clothes to Hobson's, you can trust that they'll be ready on time.
You can trust that your whites will be white.
You can trust that you'll always get a fair price and service with a smile.
You can even trust that you won't have to get out of your car if you don't want to. Hobson's has a drive-through window for your convenience.
Trust is what it's all about at Hobson's Dry Cleaning.
Hobson's Dry Cleaning, your one-stop dry cleaners serving the community for over 30 years at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming. Call 891-8298. That's 891-8298.
Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home has 3 locations to serve you in Buffalo: 347 Peckham, 2258 Bailey Avenue, and Providence Memorial Chapel at 1275 Sycamore. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes offers traditional services, and they have services for all faiths. And at Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes, they have air-conditioned parlors and chapels. Financing is available, as is limousine service. At those difficult moments in your life, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes is available where you are with counseling services. Call toll-free 877-885-7734. That's 877-885-7734. Or locally, 845-5545. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. We are here to serve you, here to serve this present age. Call today, toll-free, 877-885-7734. Or email info@brianklewisfuneralhome.com.
Yeah, and we're back. So I want to talk a little bit, because sometimes we can get so far off track. And then I just think our as a people, our activism is so temporary. We came together as not just community, as a country, those who, especially during George Floyd, and painted streets and changed signs, and obviously that's totally eroding as we can't even talk about. Well, we can, but as it's discouraged now, talk about who we are. So 514, and I know the question was for some people, who's where and who's not where. Well, I'm going to tell you where I was not. I was not on Jefferson. I was not at City Hall. I was at home.
Yeah.
And I was at home and stayed busy because maybe next year I can do it. I just couldn't do it. I cannot tell you, and maybe that's why the message came up. I can't tell you that on that day I was okay. And I didn't, it was that day, and you remember, Mark, you were right by my side.
Yep.
That day was very difficult, and it's still difficult.
Still.
And this is probably the first year I can talk about it without my voice shaking. So I'm healing, but I have not healed, and so I'm being honest about it, and I'm being transparent. And I didn't want to be rude to anybody, and I didn't want to come. I know me.
Yep.
I know me. And I knew I was not in the right place to be around a lot of people, because I remember having to leave my son's first play that he was so happy to be in, and I never seen him get on the stage because of a white supremacist. And I think we have to keep the focus on there still needs to be reforms. We got to deal with the man sitting in the White House.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, let me say this, because I'm not taking sides. I know there are people saying they shouldn't have been out there line dancing. They shouldn't have been out there doing this. I wasn't there. I didn't organize it. So I ain't got nothing to say about nothing that I wasn't a part of. At the end of the day, I'm taking responsibility for me. I knew I would not be in the right headspace to smile and hug baby, hold baby. I knew I wasn't. I knew when I woke up that morning, it felt dark, it felt damp, it felt sad, and it felt like, you fight. We fight for a few minutes,
Yep.
and then we fight each other. So now there's this whole controversy about people shouldn't have did this, or people shouldn't have did this, or people shouldn't have did this, or people should have. Well, if you didn't organize it, you should have then organized what you felt should have happened. And maybe some of you did. But I think that when we start to fight against each other, we lose the focus of a guy sitting in jail right now who came into our community, killed, massacred people because of their color. And we lose then the momentum of making sure, and I saw somebody's post that said, how about let's concentrating on packing out that courtroom every time he's got to go.
Absolutely.
I said, there you go. How about making sure that we keep this in the front of at least our media that we own? Because at the end of the day, and I'm talking about for me personally. So I ain't hating on nobody. Y'all do whatever you're going to do. But I get to make a choice like everybody else does. But I felt down. I felt like let's go. Like, let's go. Why do we start and then stop? And people know we going to start and then stop. And this, please, y'all don't take this as any disrespect for anybody who did anything. You did what you felt you needed to do. But I do believe that there are people out there who feel like if we entertain them, they'll be okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, this is all I want you to think about. When 9/11 rolls around, we don't have a party.
Right.
And again, I want to be respectful of how, because people mourn differently.
Right.
So I had a little cousin who used to laugh when he was stressed.
Right.
And I remember punching him in his chest one time because I'm like, Sinclair, this ain't funny. And Sinclair said, yeah, okay, well, I already said it. He said, this is how I deal with my stress.
Right.
So I had to respect that.
Right.
So I'm being respectful in my comments. But nobody should ask me why wasn't I there, because I'm still not in the right headspace even today.
Right.
And I got a cold.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to let you have it in a nice, loving way, because that's what I've been teaching.
My brain foggy.
But I can't celebrate when I had to tell people your mother is one of them in there. I can't.
Yes.
I can't go out around crowds right now. I went to the Holocaust Museum in Israel. It is a respected place. It is a revered place. You feel murder and gas chambers, and you are forever reminded of the carnage that happened. Now I almost said a bad word. Lord help me. Now, daggone it. Let's make sure we give that same respect when we think about 514. I say big ups to Marnetta on Friday nights for keeping the community together. So I don't want everybody to get this twisted and run with it. And Pridgeon said, listen to the whole thing.
Absolutely.
I respect anybody's desire to do anything. I'm talking about Darius, and I get a right to my opinion.
Yes.
Darius mourns on that day. Darius didn't want to go and have to talk about if I had went. The only thing I would have wanted to do is concentrate on the lives that were lost, number one, the families that lost their loved ones, number two, and justice for them, number three, and then number four, never forget.
And I'll add a fifth one, the employees of the store.
Employees of the store.
Absolutely. They were greatly affected as well.
I put the employees and people who were there, I put them in the same category because they hurt.
Yeah.
I put the people who were, somebody posted, who were hiding in refrigerators.
Yep.
That's going to stay with the children that were in there. It's going to stay with them for the rest of their life. So maybe in 4 years, 5 years, I'm going to feel a lot different. But I lived it all day, all night, on the news, constantly. I wasn't out there on the news because I was trying to make a name for myself.
No.
I was out there because I had to use my voice to say across the country, if not across the world, that white supremacy is wrong, and that what happened here in Buffalo, I don't know of another mass murder in a school. We can go on. I mean, there's so many that happen. Boston Marathon.
Yep.
Where it is not a revered moment. Not just the seconds the minutes he shot and killed, but the day. And so I saw Solar on. I missed her comment. Can you see it?
Yeah, Solar said, we heal differently than others. We must learn how to embrace each other. We shout for a breakthrough is church. So if dancing offends, my God, lest we recall us dancing in unity is stomping on the devil's head.
Yeah, and like I said, and that's why I'm being respectful of everybody, because I'm not on here to argue one way or another. I said what Darius can't do yet.
Yeah.
And everybody mourns differently.
Yeah.
So when my grandmother's passed, I didn't get a chance to cry because I had to work.
Yes, you did.
I had to keep everybody up. I had to keep everybody, moving, organizing.
And I remember you had one moment in the
Remember?
sanctuary where you
That
said,
was it.
you said, I need the whole sanctuary.
I cleared it out
Yep.
because we all mourn differently. But people, especially people of color and people who are lovers of people of color, let us not get so tied up in what anybody did and then lose the focus
Yeah.
that he's not the last white supremacist out there.
Mm-hmm.
Let us not get so blindsided. Friday is coming. Friday nights are coming back. Big ups. So the reason I wanted Solar's coming because she was even hosted. I'm not, she was the MC.
Yeah.
And I've supported that.
Absolutely.
I supported that on a Friday night and the everybody getting together. I don't know of any negative incident. I'm sure some little bops happened.
Yeah.
But it wasn't nothing bad that I heard. Huge.
Yeah.
So it's a time, and I can hear all the music from my backyard.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it.
Absolutely.
But I do think that on that day, for me, it just I couldn't be around people. What about you?
Yeah, and we talked briefly on that day, and I did the same thing. I did the same thing last year. I cannot be in the city for those 30 minutes, hour.
Yeah.
So I worked the morning, and then I went to Niagara Falls, and it's because I really can't take hearing the bells and the moments of silences. And like you said, it's just that trauma response because I can literally remember moment by moment.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I called you. I remember when I got the call from the administration. I can literally go minute by minute a TikTok of everything that day. And I think because it wasn't just that day, like you said, we were out there for almost 2 weeks. If there was a media truck out there, we were on Jefferson from almost.
And by the way, we were not chasing the media.
No, they were calling.
Absolutely. So I want to be clear.
Yeah, and I have the links. I think with the next time I kind of went through it, I think you ended up doing 77 national and international interviews in those 2 weeks. And even just those moments and embracing, and like you said, I was standing right next to you when we were doing death notifications, and I've been in that Tops twice still. And now, even for me, that Tops has a whole additional piece because on the day it reopened was the day my mother passed. So that Tops has a whole extra meaning. So I struggle with being out there or even in the city, and it's also because, and I know a few people were like, it's good to see all these acts of charity and days of service, and my struggle is I still don't know how to process that because we do it for one day or the week leading up to 5/14, but then it's like the rest of the year we don't pay attention to it, and I think my biggest struggle, and like you said, I don't want to be out there because I don't want to dampen anything for anybody.
Right. Exactly.
However you want to process
Exactly.
it. I don't want to dampen it. But my struggle is we got to stop accepting charity as equity. And until we get some real things done on Jefferson, I think I can't be in the celebratory mode.
Yeah.
And that's my struggle.
Well, there's some comments in there rather lengthy, and you can go on Power to the People show Facebook and read them. Tony Little says, how about making May 14th a day of remembrance, reflection, prayer only, with all the self-proclaimed community leaders and clergy speaking out against racism, openly discuss preventive measures. And I don't know if any of that occurred. Like I said, I didn't.
And I saw, and that's the thing. And like you said, there was a lot of things happening.
Yeah.
Like I know there was a 10 to 12 event at the library. Then, there was the moment of silence at City Hall. And then, I think the things at Jefferson in the afternoon. So like you said, if you wanted to find, you might have just had to go find for your moment. But there was different things happening throughout the day.
And then I don't know what's going on with my computer. I don't know. I'm no disrespect to anybody. My computer is really, because there was another rather long post. Knox Fro said, but my thing is when are we going to stop just getting together for tragedies and actually do something to change conditions of our community? It reminds me of a family that has, and it's just a really long post.
Members who have been beefing with one another for years, being toxic and hateful towards each other. Then once a death occurs in a family.
That's a kind of good analogy.
That is. Once a death occurs, where to go?
See, only to resume its dysfunctional activities the following day. That's a really, and then he talks about other organizations like white organizations, and they stay together.
Yes,
you got the Italians, and I could just go on and on. They stay together. They stay purposeful, and I think out of 514, so there were some millions that came in. Whatever, many people will say, I don't see a huge change, and I can get in. I don't want to get too far away because then I'll start to deflect and not keep on this. There is a white supremacist,
yes,
who felt that it was okay to come into our community.
Yep.
And we just have to make sure that he doesn't feel okay now.
Mm-hmm.
That we have not gone back to times as usual.
Yep.
And that's my only concern. And I agree with the poster who said, let's pack out. Like, I think it would be wonderful to have on, whether it's on Western New York Billboard or Community Billboard or whatever, the dates, his appearances.
Absolutely.
And everybody can't go all the time, but at least show up. They won't even let you in the courtroom if it's full. It sends out. So I'm in support of that. Whoever posted that on whatever site, whoever's page, of how about let's do that? Yeah. How about let's make sure in some way that the next person who has the thought, because judges are nothing but lawyers with robes on, so they're people. So I think that the judiciary needs to see that Buffalo, and especially Black Buffalo, let me be more specific, African-American Buffalo, is not going to simply go, oh, that's over, we return back to life as normal. I don't know about anybody else out there, maybe because I truly have boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, just, I don't know if people saw the latest update. Just this week, the court denied, the shooter's motion
Absolutely.
to dismiss hate crime. So the fact that I do find it appalling, and I get due process. So, love the Constitution. So I still agree with due process. I do agree with the right to defend yourself. So I'm not taking that part away. But I do find it appalling that someone that basically wrote this as a hate crime, his lawyers would then say, hey, can we get the hate crime charges dismissed? And the whole basis of this was a hate crime. Like if it was truly a mental health and it was multiple people killed of all races, and okay, I can see maybe not a hate crime. But he literally, everything from the scouting to the reporting to the actions in the store said this was a hate crime. So that's the part I find appalling about it.
Janetta said, I was thinking the same thing. Tony Little says, and one can come again. Yes, you can go. But I think most of the time, the only way I know, I'm just Joe Citizen, is when it's on the news after it's already happened. Yeah. But I'm going to take to heart what that person put, and I don't let's show up. Let's show up. If it's even a small hearing, he needs to look behind him and see the faces of this community. So if anybody out there has that information, I would be very willing to share that information on our show. I'd be very willing to share that information in any way possible. So that we do at least stick together there. I know we got to get ready to go. I probably will only be able to get, because of the delay, one person on, 541-0866-716, 541-0866. Maybe if I put it in the comments, it'll happen quicker. 541 08. Now, this is because so I might be answering a personal call. Hold on, Mark. You go ahead and take over.
Yes. So I think it is important that we stay up to date with what's going on with the trials, and not just leaving it up, and not just trying to leave it up to
you got to turn down your radio.
the families of the deceased. But there's a lot of people impacted. So I do think getting that information out, and so that the community can support even just the victims that were impacted.
We do have a caller. Caller, what's your first name? Caller?
Can you hear me?
Yes. What's your first name?
My name is Raquel.
All right. What's up?
I was calling because I actually went to the celebration of life on Jefferson, and honestly, I commend what they put together, but it's not big enough.
Okay.
And I'm saying that because there was so many people out there, but it was older people. Where's the youth at? Where's the community at? And it was just like a lack of it. And I feel as though at that day when that happened, how we all stood up that day, we got to keep standing up for that.
Okay. I appreciate. Go ahead, and then I got another call. Go ahead.
No, and I just want to say thank you for taking that call because it just wasn't enough.
Thank you, Raquel.
There was a lack of it.
I appreciate it. So that's why I like to just talk about it. Like as a community, I'm not offended if we don't agree on something. But like she said, hey, she felt it wasn't big enough.
Right.
So that's why I wanted to approach this conversation with respect for how others may react and how others may feel, and not to. And I know Solar just called. And I wish I could get her back on the air. Because I would like to hear her perspective in this, but I want to be respectful because what we do a lot is we throw our opinion out there and it just we go at each other and then we lose it all of what we are. Dang, and her number came up. I wish I knew how to work these phones better because her number came up and I could call her right back. Solar, if you hear me, I got a few minutes. Just call me right back. At the number you just called, 541-0866. Go ahead.
And I was getting ready to say, and I think just honestly, just like Juneteenth, and the Juneteenth after the tragedy, I think was the biggest party that in my 11 years in Buffalo that I've ever seen or experienced. And that might be the thing to look at, and I didn't know they called it a celebration of life on 514, but is it one of those, like we do get an organization committee together and it's the later in the evening or the next day, or do we make it more of a week long or weekend situation? So, so kind of blend the balance. So we're not offending those that want to mourn, but it's also, we are celebrating life as well.
Hey, Solar, I got you on the air live.
How you doing?
Good. I'm running out of time. Talk to us.
I'm calling because I did go down there, and I agree with your sentiments. A lot of people for 514 have to realize that individuals heal differently, right? So when you're looking at the aspect of those who put in the work, thank you. But my biggest question to the community and those that put in the work, what happens on 514 all the way through the summer? What are we going to do outside of joining us on Friday Night Lives, right? Because we do our part to make sure that community, and I big up Marnetta Malcolm for everything.
Yep.
But what are we going to do to continuously, one, like you said, raise our voice? Two, how are we going to come together and realize what we need to heal in our own community? And three, I agree with you, Mark. We don't need a handout. We really don't need a hand up. We just need each other and put our resources together. Boots on the ground as always. Reverend Pridgeon, we will always talk. I look forward to coming back. But I will say this to the community. I'm going to keep it light now, but I will share that page on my page, that young man's, and I'm being polite, right? Picture, so that we never forget. Every time I see a news article, I'm sharing it on the page.
There it is.
Every time he thinks he can get away with something, I'm sharing it on our page. How can you not want to be judged by blacks when you kill blacks? How can you not say that there wasn't hate in your heart when you killed people, period? With that being said, I look forward to seeing you very soon, and I'll be on your show soon.
All right. Thanks, Lucinda. I appreciate it. So I appreciate conversations that are well balanced, and we all have our
Absolutely.
own opinions. And I've said this when I retired. I'm at the place in my life now. I'm trying to bring people together. I'm going to still stand up for injustice.
Absolutely.
I am not going to start being silent because I'm retired. From city government, because I still have a voice. As a man, as a, we get into this, the black leaders. No, come on. If you're a grown man and you're responsible for your community, you're a leader.
Mm-hmm.
So don't put it off on somebody because they got a title. Don't do that. That's weak. You're a leader. And stop waiting for one person or why this person ain't saying nothing. They went, no. My father's only title is father.
Yep.
And husband.
And that's
But
a
he
big
keep
enough
Hamlin Road in check.
That's a big enough title.
It's a big enough title. So don't put it off on other people and what they should do. If you ain't do nothing, chill. So I chilled.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't take it. I'm not at that headspace right now. That's it. And that's all. And you ain't gotta like it, but it's still it's like PTSD. It
Yeah.
really, really is.
It is.
And I'm not there yet. Pray for me. Hobson's, the doctor dry cleaner. I am going to get that Alka-Seltzer cold medicine.
Yeah.
Hobson's, the doctor dry cleaner, 874 East Delavan. Got stuff over there right now. Go over to Hobson's. They help pay the bills. You want to have this kind of free conversation, have this conversation that lifts up, that brings awareness. Go let them know how much you appreciate them, and they do a good job by taking your clothes to Hobson's, the doctor dry cleaner. Let them know I'm here. Heard it on Power to the People, and thank them for giving us this platform for almost 2 decades. Almost 2 decades. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes, 3 locations to serve you. 347 Peckham, 2528 Bailey, 1275 Sycamore. In your hour of need, Brian K. Lewis. Listen, folks, it has been an enriching conversation.
Do we want to drop
Yep.
the names of the victims
Go
as
ahead.
we go out?
Why don't you do that?
So, as always, as we talked about 514, we do want to honor the 10 who lost their lives: Roberta Drury, Marcus Morrison, Andre McAneal, Aaron Salter, Geraldine Talley, Celestine Cheney, Hayward Patterson, Catherine Morrison, or Kat Massey, Pearl Young, and Ruth Whitfield.
We close this show by saying power to the people.